What's good? What's good? What's good in the hood? Welcome back to another episode of the Good in the Hood podcast, man. I am, as always, your host, Juice. Joined this week with a special guest, man, up and coming artist from the city, holding Chicago down. Always love to support Chicago artists, man. We have D3WON here, man, producer, rapper, man. I can't wait to get into your story, man. How you feeling today, sir?
Cool, man. I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Can't complain. I'm saying Chicago's nice, still summertime shop vibe going on. Not too hot though, so I'm enjoying it while we got it. You know what I'm saying? The winter is coming. The winter is coming, man.
Absolutely.
I guess with all interviews right now, I think the number one question to ask everyone to start things off with is how has your life been? I'm saying this pandemic-esque world that we're in still.
The life has been pretty okay. You know, it's difference in work cycles and things that we can and can't do, but we getting it done. We're getting the work done. So it's just ulterior ways of thinking. Sorry, my words.
Oh, you good? You're good. And we got you here today because, well, one, you're a fantastic artist, but your project just dropped, I believe, September last year, around this time, almost a year to this date. Your debut project, Symphony. I believe it's your debut, correct?
Yeah.
8 tracks, strong tracks, and me, one, I'm Virgo. So while opening the project, I'm saying I see the date it premiered. I see the intro track of September's Baby. I'm like, all right, I'm buckled in. Let's go. I'm hearing the instrumentation. Let's talk about what mindset you were in for that project. It's a lot of love-esque ballads on there. You talk about breakups. You talk about, you're talking about a lot in that project. I even think one song. I want to say it's Full Moon is dedicated to Chicago a little bit. So I want to get, I'm saying, your storytelling. I want to get all that dived into on this episode, man. Take me through Symphony.
So Symphony is a project I put together with like a group of musicians, writers, artists, producers, and engineers. We all just got together, and I kind of act as the conductor, just kind of bringing everybody together, giving them the full concept. And the ill thing about it is, like, I approach this thing like a mixtape. Like, it comes off super cohesive now, but when I was making it, the whole thought was just like, yo, let's make like 8 really cool songs that just sounds good to me. And I have a really good ear for like putting the right people on the right track, but also kind of sequencing things. So that's why it flows the way it does. And yeah, the mixtape just kind of turned into this thing that was kind of conceptual, but I really didn't mean to do that.
So what I really appreciate about Symphony as a project is that I'm very unfamiliar with your work, this being your debut project as well. But the group of people brought on the project with you are also very unfamiliar to me. And it still, like you said, was cohesive. Everything sounded like it fit. Talk about these collaborations you have on the project and everyone that's working with you on this.
Yeah. So everybody I worked with was like different circumstances of me meeting them. I went to Columbia College, and that's why I met a lot of them doing different things. Yeah. And that's how we met a lot of them. And before I was really like getting into the music, making the album, before I really knew what it was, I was curating these shows called Soul Fest at Columbia. And I was like, you know what? These artists that I'm doing these shows with, let's get in the studio and let's just see what happens, because I had this idea and let's just see how it goes. And that's how these working relationships kind of started. And then they grew into friendships, and then it grew into really big collaborations and collaborators of mine. So that's how we got the collaborations together.
For sure, that's dope. And like with these collaborations, like, are these artists that you kind of work with in the future as well, or just because of Columbia College and being there together?
Oh no, we definitely working together. Like, we're all friends and we all know each other. So it's very possible that you might see me hopping on a projects, even if it ain't me like doing a rap verse. I might be writing some stuff. I know one in particular, Shanae, who's on Apollonia's Interlude. I've been writing some stuff with her. Planning to write with Rebecca Brunner from Believing, and yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. And you might see me on a front roll, and you might hear me on the back roll. You just never know. And I've let them know, like, hey, I appreciate y'all working on my stuff. So like, if y'all need me, I'm here. So just ask. So you just never know what might come about.
And do you find yourself more comfortable behind the microphone as the rapper, as the performer, or as the producer, conductor, as you say?
To be honest, it's really what serves the song that I'm working on. Like for a song like The Look, where it's just console, I'm totally cool with being in the background, helping y'all get that vocal out and making sure that the song is put together and great. But also if it's a song like 22 that's so personal to me, I don't mind being on the song. So it really just serves the purpose of what the song is at the time. It's not really like a thing where it's kind of like a quota that I gotta be on this many songs on my album. It's really just what serves the song.
For sure. And like I said, I read your bio on your website, man. Dope write up on the website, dope bio. It says you started off by singing in choirs.
Mhm.
Talk about your upbringing and how long you've been involved in music before going to college.
Yeah, I've been in music kind of my whole life. Funny enough, like I went to like a Christian school when I was a kid, and we had to like sing all the time. And then like around fourth grade, I kind of transferred into like this public school that was by my house in my neighborhood. And I thought like singing was a thing that everybody could do because it just was something that was around all the time. I didn't know it was people who could and couldn't sing, but that kind of put the music in my DNA, and I didn't really know what it was. I just knew it kind of came natural because of that. Then fast forward, I get to like high school, and you know, you at that point where you're trying to find yourself and trying to find what it is that you dig, and you know, you got a lot of like outside influences from your friends, and it was pulling me in the way of football, and I was like, yeah, I did this for like 3 days and I don't really dig it. So that's not for me. And then it put me in a range of theater and I was like, okay, this is cool. But we ain't there yet. And then I started doing improv and I was like, okay, this is teaching me how to think on my feet. This is cool. But once I got to choir, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. And I went all in. While I was in choir, while I was in high school, I was in like 4 different choirs all the time. So I was constantly performing, constantly. And I think what it was that sound of harmony. And then I realized later it was the unity of musicians that I liked. That's what I did because you can tell when somebody is like doing music because it's an ego stroke. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you feel like you're good with it, you're good with it. And that's just that. But my whole thing was, it was like, well, let's see what happens if a group of musicians get together purely for the love of music and see what happens. So that was the goal between that.
Man, that's a fire outlook to have on it. And with that, like, do you see yourself adding more singing along with your rapping into your music in the
future? Yeah. Like I was saying before, it really just kind of serves the purpose of the song. Right. And you know, if it works, it works. It's songs that you know I wrote the hooks to on Symphony, and you would never know because I have like a singing it. But yeah, totally.
It's hard. And after a year of having Symphony out, do you have any tracks that hold close to your heart right now? In particular, still like one or two in particular that you say this is my favorite still. Like I will put this out. The project didn't drop last year. I'll put this out right now still.
Probably The Look. The Look has been like consistently my favorite because I love the beat. I love what Gina is saying on it, and she hits it with such punch. And it's kind of like the complete antithesis of what I've been talking about on the album.
She's spitting.
She is, and she comes in, have I ever been in love? No, never. And I was like, whoo, that's a sting. I love that. And the whole verse itself, I still listen to it. And that was like the first song we did for the tape. And I still listen to it like, whoa, it don't get old to me.
Yeah, it's see for me, right? I'm a super. I always see myself like a person who's just a super fan and person who appreciates music.
Yeah.
I've never been super skilled with it, but I've always just had a love for music. So
Yeah.
something I always have to ask artists about is perception and how they feel about perception.
Yeah.
Because a big, especially in this era we're in now with social media, everyone wants to be, you know, the super celebrity now. Everyone wants to be a
Yeah.
celebrity in some way, shape, or form. So
Yeah.
with your approach to making music, and as you embark on hopefully a long career at music,
Thank you.
what's something that you look at as far as checkpoints you wanna reach or goals you have for yourself as far as if it be listens, if it be showcases, what kind of goals do you have for yourself to check off
Um,
each project?
for this project or just for the career in general?
Well, for Symphony, how did you feel perception was for Symphony, and for your next project that you have probably in the works? What's your goals moving forward to level up from Symphony?
For Symphony, I just hope people get a better understanding of who I am. Since this is the
Mm,
first time that people are really hearing me and my sound and kind of understanding things about me, that's why I think it's kind of important for me to do interviews, because it helps people kind of get who I am
100%,
and what I
100%.
do. So it's kind of like, okay, like the biggest song on my mixtape so far is Believing by Rebecca Brunner.
Great
And
video.
thank you. And you know, people go like, does it bother you that you're not on your own song? And no, it doesn't. It doesn't at all, because I helped write that song. And it's beautiful. If that's the song that people gravitate towards, I'm starting to notice, especially as I get older, my talent is in my ears. It's the
Mm,
things that I hear.
for
And
sure.
that's what makes me stand out. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm cool with that. If I can be known as a great producer, if I'm known as a great artist, and then if there's songs that you hear me rapping on that you just go like, yeah, that verse is fire, I'll take that too. But you know, my goal is always for the music to come on top. So as long as that I'm doing that for Symphony, I'm perfectly fine with it. That's why I really don't categorize myself like, yeah, I rap and yeah, I produce, but I'm not just one of those things. I'm more of a conductor because I'm more put things
Right.
together. Because you know, I
Well,
don't really make the beats. Like I sit with my co-producers and I'm like, hey, this is the idea I have. You should chop it up like this or put this sample in there. But I ain't the one on machine doing it.
absolutely.
Or like,
I think we've seen it in the past with like artists, especially artists like we're just kind of giving off as like someone who's kind of just envisioning the album as what makes the album sound best. And maybe this voice
exactly,
is better for this song than my voice is better for this song, type of thing. Like if I, like for
exactly,
instance, a song I always think about for that is like you know, Drake always plays with his singing. But like on
yeah,
More Life, he has that song, Samples on the song by itself, 4422.
yeah,
Great song. I could
yeah,
easily see Drake trying to have sample right there, him sing it himself. But the song is much better than the sample just sing it. You know?
exactly,
So that's genius on
exactly.
your part, especially for your debut project to have that mindset already. That's super dope, man. That's super dope.
Thank you, man.
And so with that, like, what are some artists that you grew up on? Like, you're a few years younger than me. I'm about to be 31. So like,
Yeah.
what are some artists you grew up on that influenced your sound, influenced your desire to pursue music?
The first that come to mind is Andre 3000, because I
Three
love Outkast.
stacks.
I love Outkast, and the one thing I loved about them is every album they did something different. And I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna make music, I'm gonna do that. What's the point of really doing the same thing over and over again? Jay-Z is another one, because The Blueprint was the album that made me just go like, whoa, I need to get into this music because this is the sound that I love. This is crazy. And then another one that comes to mind is Dr. Dre, The Chronic 2001. That album in particular showed me how to make an album, because it kind of helped me figure out, oh, I don't need to be on everything, but I know what makes a good song. And maybe I need to kind of direct this and make sure that the overall vision is coming across, rather than
Yeah.
putting myself on a pedestal and saying, you know what, I'm the best rapper. And it's just like, no, I don't want to be the best rapper, but I do want to make the best songs. So that's
Absolutely. With that, you touched on the South, the East, and the West, man. That's crazy.
like I
That's a
love
strong group.
that. Literally, it's so good to me, because like for Chronic 2001, my favorite song is Explosive, and Dre ain't even on the song.
Yeah,
But it's
explosive.
so fire,
Yeah, it's a
so
fire record.
good.
It's a fire record for sure. And
Yeah,
like even when you mention like the Jay-Z blueprint. Like, of course, us being from Chicago, that's
Yeah.
largely produced by Kanye West as well. And you hear,
Yeah.
and you hear, he has an album with, he's not on the song like My Way Home on the registration. Like, so like it's dope that you mentioned that. Like, what is your favorite artist from the city, whether it be from your generation or from the past?
From mostly, I think of Ye. I love songs that Common did, like on B. I think those songs is great, but again, it's
My
produced by
favorite,
Ye.
my favorite album of all time. My favorite rap album of all
Yeah,
time is Thomas B.
it's so good. And then like the direction that Chance took on Coloring Book, I really love. I was like, oh yeah,
Mm,
this is tight. I
okay.
really love what he did here. It's quite a few artists from the city I love, but then you got to go back because it's artists from the city like Quincy Jones that people don't really like think about that I'm like, this guy's dope. Or like Earth, Wind, and Fire that people kind of forget that came from Chicago. And
I mean,
it's like,
I was going to mention Earth, Wind, and Fire. I was going to circle back to September's Baby because, like,
yeah.
for me, like once again being a Virgo, September by Earth, Wind, and Fire always gets played around this time of the year for me. So like September's Baby's gonna get some play in that same realm, man. Just
Yeah.
give me that good Virgo energy, you know.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you mentioned some great producers. You mentioned, of course, Quincy Jones, who like produced everything under the sun. When you get in the mind of the producer, when you get in the mind of D1, the producer, you get ready to make a project or make a song. I mean, do you ever go into the mind of this is going to be a rap song, this is going to be a R&B song, it's going to be a soul song, or do you just go in and just let it flow out naturally?
What I really do is when I get a beat from a producer, I can normally hear who I want to be on it and what goes where, but it's just that basic outline. You never know. I have to sit with the artist in order to write a song for them. It's very rare that I write something for an artist and I come to them with it like, hey, I wrote this for you, sing this. No, it's always a conversation. Like once I get with an artist and sit down and say, here's the idea, here's where this should go, but here's the concept. What do you think about it? And let's just talk it out and figure it out together. That works better for me. That's why I wouldn't like call myself somebody's like songwriter. I write with the artist, not for them.
For a
So
collaborator,
that's
for sure.
yeah. So that's how the songs get made. But also it's a different process with every song. Like, you get September's Baby. That song took me a while to make, but it was like I kind of had Anna's verse already. I didn't know what Boosa was gonna do. And it took me a couple of years to write my verse because I had to actually have that life experience to talk about what I talked about. And then you get a song that's like Hourglass that was done like super fast. So it's just like, it's different processes for each song.
And of course, I'm assuming you've been working on music since the release of Symphony. What's your goal as far as next releases or anything as far as music in the future?
I want to make sure that the music is good because, I'm on a good track record right now. So it's like, I don't want to put out anything lackluster for the sake of like, you have to put something out. It's just like, nah, let Symphony breathe because for the many people who've heard of it, there's a lot of people who haven't. So it's going to be people who hear the music and going to be like, whoa, this is crazy. So once I do drop again, it'll be more, I'll learn more. I'll say that. Like I will learn a lot more.
And I see you have a so far dropping on September 9th. I'm saying,
Oh, yeah.
How was that experience? How was it? How was it performing the album for you?
I'm really excited about the SoFi show. I've never done a show like this before because normally on shows I normally put them together myself and I have a really good synopsis of what's what and where's where and what's going to be happening. This is completely different. This is a new like background for me in a new place. So it's kind of like we're getting the show together and I'm really excited about it, but like let's hope that the people dig it.
And all the collaborators going to be in attendance. All the collaborators coming out to perform their verses.
Nah. The stuff on stage ain't big enough for that.
For sure.
Yeah, but we got a really good show coming. It's gonna be really dope.
That's dope. Looking forward to seeing that. And have you performed anything off the album at all yet? Have you performed with the pandemic going on? Have you performed any songs at all from
Uh,
Symphony?
Not really. Not really. I've been doing a lot of in the studio work, so
Okay.
it's been kind of difficult to do the album, especially like with the crowds and everything, because I'm still
Yeah.
like a person that's like I don't really feel comfortable going around a large crowd of
Yeah,
people with
man.
mask on. Like I'm like not yet. Like
I got anxiety just driving by Lollapalooza. I just drove past, like, nah, y'all wow.
yeah.
Y'all wow, no.
And it's crazy, like what the year will do to you, like a year in the house, and it's just like, yeah, uh, all the stuff we used to do, I don't know if I feel comfortable
Hold
doing that
I'm,
again. At least not right now. Who knows? Maybe 6 months, I'll feel differently. But as of
I'm
now,
cool.
like, yeah, I'm cool being in the crib.
And I see also like you had production on the project by the likes of Bohouse. Who are your ideal collaborators of Chicago that you see out there so far right now that you haven't worked with yet?
That I haven't worked with yet. I'm not sure because it's so many artists out there that it's just got to come organically for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I meet
Yeah,
them and I really dig their music or it's something I'm like, whoa, this is dope, then if I have a song for you, I'll reach out. But right now I don't have any like
or
songs. So it's like nobody that really comes
do,
to
do
mind right now.
do you see yourself like I know you're like, honestly I can tell you're a big collaborator. Do you see yourself a big networker? Do you see yourself someone who's going to be out there to reach out and say, hey, I know you I don't know who I am, but I really like your music. That's what I'm saying. Let's rock out. Are you that kind of person?
Yeah.
You
I'm
are
totally that person. Like it's
awesome.
funny
Awesome.
because Bea, who's like from Puerto Rico, I reached out to her because I found her on like a Instagram
Mm.
video and I really liked her voice. And I
Oh, that's
was like,
fire.
yeah, I was like, yo, we should work together. And I'm not a stranger to that. I will definitely do that. Like it's an artist that I like from LA that I just kind of hit her up randomly and was like, yo, I found your song randomly and I downloaded it because it's super fire. She don't know who I am, but it's just like, yo, and I get that with artists. Like sometimes you need that support. And I'm always down if the music is good to tell you, like, yo, this is really tight. Like I dig it.
Right.
So
I'm glad to hear you say that because I feel like music today has become such a popularity contest, such a cool kid contest where everyone has to be too cool for school. Everyone has to do things status quo. Like even like with the recent like drama with between the Drake and the Kanye thing, I'm like,
yeah,
why? I'm saying it's like why just always collaborate. It doesn't have to be that serious. It doesn't have to
yeah,
be that serious. Like even looking at like beefs that in Chicago, like why is gang beef relating to music? Like
yeah.
certain things is always disappointing as a fan for that. So I'm glad to hear you kind of just say, I'm not ever too cool to try to work with somebody. Like music is collaborative. It should be always be collaborative. So
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that mindset from you. With that, like you have all these collaborators on the project here with Symphony. Which artists here do you think like everyone should probably just check them out right now? They have projects out. Like who would you recommend people check out on the project so far?
Console. And
So
Console. Because Console, though they not listed, they're like on 5 places on Symphony. Well, not five. Uh 4. Yeah.
four to
Yeah.
eight, shit, that's half.
Like that literally, and they're all over my project. Like I love working with them, and you hear them in different ways. Like you hear Shani is singing backgrounds on Full Moon, and Gina is like doing the phone skit on Apollonia. Like you hear them all over,
Mm.
and I really love working with them. And they project POV is like super dope. My song is you should listen to Sit Pretty because that junk just bang. Like I dig it.
And they also from Chicago?
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure. Definitely gonna check them out. Definitely gonna check them out immediately. And
yeah.
talk about the artwork. The Symphony's artwork is also very unique. It's kind of like black anime-esque, but like super like it's super freaky. I'm rocking with it. Talk about the artwork.
Yeah, so I got to give all credit to Annie Gaskell, the artist who made the artwork. I just came to her with a simple idea because I love her like little curvy style, and we went to school together. And I just randomly hit her up and I was like, hey, because she had did my Soulful logo for me. And I was like, hey, I had this idea for my album. And I was listening to a lot of 90s R&B at this time. And one of my favorite album covers is the Daydream cover from Mariah
Mm,
Carey. And I liked how
mm.
it kind of zoomed in on her face. Same thing with like Faith Evans' first album. And I was like, I should do that for my album because it just kind of fits the vibe. And this is before I got any music made. So like I'm a super visual person. I go with the covers first. Like I know what I want the album cover to look like, and I'll make the music around that. So I had Annie, and I was like, "Hey, do you mind doing a cover where it's a woman, but the skin needs to be purple and the hair got to be blue?" She's like, "Why those particular colors?" I was like, "Because I wanted to represent nobody and everybody at the same time. It's not racially ambiguous. It's just like, yo, like this music is for everybody." And
That's all right.
nobody in this world has purple skin as far as I know. And I'm like, well, like, let's rock out. Like this is the vibe for what I'm going for right now.
That's
And
all right.
Brenda Zapata Aguilar, which is a huge graphic designer and friend of mine, she does a lot of my design work. She took Annie's design and kind of made it in a CD format, highlighted it, and that's how you get that like um, glittery look to the album. So shout out to both of them. They really did a great job with it.
Man, the visual effects is always important. Like in the packaging of a project is always important. Definitely caught my eye. I mean, like, man, this is super funky. I like that, man. And talk about soulful as well. Like, because like just going back to your collaborative spirit, like you are like, what's going on with soulful? Let's talk about soulful real quick.
So Soulful was the label I started like in high school. And it was my idea because I always knew if I was going to release music, it needs to be under my own banner. I'm not like anti-label or nothing, but I was like, you know what? If I'm going to create a brand, this is what I'm going to do. And this is the sound, this is the style, and this is the visual artist that I want to be. So that's what Soulful kind of became. Um, in terms of like signing artists, I realize now how much of a responsibility that is. And I'm not saying I'm like against it or like I'm not for it, but right now, if the situation comes, I'm cool with it. But also, it's a lot of responsibility that go with that. And right now, I'm kind of cool with just collaborating with people.
That's real. That's real. And like with like those kind of imprints, like you don't have to necessarily sign artists like you said. You can just like you're doing now, just build these projects that host a umbrella of artists, just a full just it's your project with hella collaborators, which is super dope, man. And do you see yourself doing more production, more producing in the future at all?
Yeah, totally. Like if they
Yeah.
want me to do it,
That's all
yeah.
right. How much of the
And
album was produced by you? What beats in particular you produced?
I haven't produced any yet,
Oh
at least
yeah,
anything
okay,
that's come out. So like
okay, for
I've
sure.
done a lot of stuff for like people, but they haven't came out yet. And you know, I don't really like to play with people's like release dates and things like that. So
Right, right.
it's kind of like I'll talk about it once they like announce it.
So
But
yeah, man,
I'm really excited.
that's super dope. And going back to the album cover, you mentioned Mariah Carey and Faith Evans, and that's super interesting to me. I can't even lie to you. You said those two names, like man, okay, '90s R&B. I read it wrong. It was an '80s and '70s. You're a '90s R&B guy.
Yeah, at least for
'90s
this
R&B.
project, yeah, that was what
For
I was
sure.
listening to
Okay.
heavy.
For sure. For sure. So like when you get into that when you get into the mindset of pursuing that sound, I guess a little bit, or even hearing that sound on you, like do you go? I'm gonna dive fully into it. Do you try to ask with contrast, or like what's your mindset when you catch that kind of flow and that kind of you find yourself in that influence?
To be honest, it's just the music that like spoke to me at the time. Like my
Mm.
favorite song melodically is Rain by SWV, hence why it's like the first
Oh
sample on the album.
yeah,
And
so
I was like,
Jones.
you know what? I'm in this vibe right now. And that's how I make music. It's about the music that moves me. And that at the time was moving me. So like Full Moon, like it has the same sample as Drake's Cameras. And I knew people would like gravitate towards it because of that. But that's not really why I took the sample. The reason I got the sample was because it was John B calling on you, and I love that record just by itself. I remember
So
the
go ahead.
I'll go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, the three artists that's on the on the song with me on Full Moon. We used to just ride in the car, like while we was making the song. I had the beat, but I would just like ride in the car with all three of them, and we would just listen to the song, the
That's right.
sample. And it was
That's
like
right.
this is a vibe.
That's right. That's right. It's super dope to do it that way and still incorporate your own sound on top of that. Like it's a super dope thing to do.
Yeah,
And once again, so on this pod is very much so focused on being music fandom. I'm saying, so I gotta ask you this question. I'm saying we're talking about daddy's R&B. Give me your
yeah.
best era of R&B to you. Like when you can go from the 2010s, the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s. What is the if you had to give me your best, not your favorite, not your favorite. I know your favorite might be the 90s. Like you
Yeah,
had a best, an ideal, like with the artists, the groups that are involved of that decade. Who would you pick?
probably the '80s because that's the era of the New Jack Swing. So that's the
Mm,
era of like
yeah,
SWO, Babyface, Key
yeah,
Sweat, and you got all these guys, even Bobby Brown. Like I
yeah.
love that era. So like when Bruno did that 24 karat magic, I was all in. I was like, oh, this is tight. But yeah, that's if I had to pick the best, that's probably the best in my opinion.
Okay, that's strong. That's strong. Because the 80s also has like you also have Michael in there. You got Prince in there.
Exactly.
You got Luther in there. Like yeah, I feel that. I feel that. 80s is strong. 80s is definitely
Exactly.
strong because you have the newer stuff that's coming, but you still have the remnants of the 70s. And yes, that's hard. It's a great pick. I would have definitely gone 80s or sleep. Like people sleep on 2000s a little bit. But I might go 90s before 2000. 2000 don't get enough love, man. 2000 be getting kind of looked over because this is some heat 2000. 2000 genuine and them. It was
Oh
getting busy.
yeah.
Leah, Destiny
Genuine
Child.
time.
Yeah, it's a few. You know what I'm saying early Beyonce. But yeah,
Yeah.
man. But yo, hey, DeWON, man, this is a great conversation. Before I get you out of here, I gotta know. I know you said right now you want to let Symphony live, but talk about any music you're making right now, any new influences you're having right now, and what's coming up next for you. Whether it be more shows beyond so far.
So far, that's the main thing right now. But
And then,
the music I've been listening to heavy right now, I've been listening to a lot of funk. I've been listening to
mm,
a lot of like late 60s, early 70s funk, like from
ooh,
Sly all the way
okay,
down to like Prince, even down to like the Ohio Players and the guys, the Fatback Band, the dudes who do bus stop, do the bus stop,
yeah,
like things like that. And I'm like,
the double buzz, the double buzz. You know what I'm saying double
yeah,
Dutch
like
buzz, double Dutch
stuff
buzz.
like that. Like it's just
Yeah,
like that's what's kind of moving me right now because I'm like, yeah, I'm 24. Like things
yeah.
I gotta be so serious. I want to dance. Like
And,
it's
and
cool.
that speaks to your Dr. Dre influence. You know what I'm saying the G Funk era. I'm saying Parliament is. I'm sure that's in the mix as well.
Yeah,
Little Bootsy Collins in there.
yeah,
Anything new? Like for me, new right now, there's a lot of R&B. Like Cleo Soul new album is amazing called Mother. If you ever heard that, I advise you checking that out.
but
Even that Ty Dolla $ign Division album, I guess
oh,
super smooth. Yeah,
I've
super
been meaning
smooth.
to listen to that. I didn't get around
Yeah,
to it, but I've been meaning to listen to that. I
super
love
smooth.
that
Super
time.
smooth. It's kind of giving me what I want from Anderson and Bruno. I'm hoping.
Oh yeah, I dig them a
It's
lot.
yeah.
I mean,
Hope they come with that album soon, man. Hope they come with that album soon. And the
yeah.
Kanye album is in rotation still. Nas album is still in rotation. So
Oh yeah.
lot of good music out there for sure, man. Hey,
That's cool.
DeWON, I really appreciate having you on here, man. Shout out to your manager T, super dope.
All right.
Conversing with her. Please tell everyone when they can find you, when they can support you. When they can, you know, just find out more about you as well.
Yeah. If you really want to find me, I'm most active on Instagram. So you can find me at D3WON_music. Or if you want to just learn more about me, you could just go to D3WONmusic.com. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hit that about button. It's a great write up on his brother's bio, man. Super
Uh,
dope conversation, man. Super dope to learn more about you. Symphony is a super hard project.
Thank you, man.
Definitely gave me a strong vibes, man. Strong, good energy vibes. I needed that. You know what I'm saying so. Appreciate that as always.
Thank
And
you,
man,
man.
stay blessed. Everyone out there, please stay good in the
All right,
hood.
man. Thank you so much. Peace,
Peace,
man.
brother.